So the second benefit in this life of having Shinjin, and this of course was summarized by Master Shinran, yes, in his works. He gave 10 benefits in this life for those who have faith in Amida Buddha or Shinjin, or diamond-like faith in Amida Buddha according to the primal vow. So you can find this for those who are studying along with me, or also for future people who are seeing the video, is page 169 of the book, The Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism by Yoshi Sensei. So you could go to page 169, you will find the second benefit there, okay? So what does it mean to be possessed of supreme virtues, okay? So basically in other schools of Pure Land Buddhism, they think that Amida Buddha helps them just partially, you know, like you have to dedicate some of your own merits, and then Amida Buddha helps you with the 50% kind of deal, 50-50. But in Jodo Shinshu, we don't consider that we have merits to dedicate, yes? Because there is a big difference between transcendental merits and mundane merits. Actually, there is a very good article by Yoshi Sensei on this topic that you should read very carefully, you know, because there is a big difference between trying to be like a nice guy or practice the precepts or even meditate, okay, to a certain level. But those are still mundane merits in the sense that they are combined with our ego and our limitations. So they cannot be considered transcendental merits that can propel us or that can take us to Amida Buddha's Pure Land, okay? Having said that, you know, in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, we actually understand that it is not us that dedicate merits to Amida Buddha. It is Amida Buddha who dedicates his transcendental merits to us, okay? So it's very important for us to understand it in that way. So if we read here in page 169, we have a very important passage by Master Shinran in his work, the Hymns of the Dharma Ages. He says, Master Shinran says, when sentient beings of this evil world of the 5 defilements entrust themselves to the selected primal vow, virtues indescribable, inexplicable, and inconceivable fill those practitioners. All beings, having heard Amida's virtuous name, attain joyful faith, rejoice in what they hear, and call his name even once. The person of sincerity, Amida, endows merit to them. Yes. Or in other words, Amida Buddha gives transcendental merit to those who entrust themselves to him sincerely. Then I continue with the passage of Shinran Shonin. He says, all who aspire for birth in the Pure Land attain birth there. Hence, I prostrate myself to worship him and aspire to be born there. You know? Then Shinran Shonin also says in his work, passages on the 2 aspects of the Tathagata's directing of virtue. He says, concerning the directing of virtue through the power of the primal vow, the Tathagata's directing of virtue has 2 aspects. The directing of virtue in the aspect of our going forth to the Pure Land, and the directing of virtue in the aspect for our return to this world, to this world. So basically, this is called in the Jodo Shinshu jargon, let's say, the twofold merit transference, or Oso Eko and Genso Eko. What does it mean? It's very simple, actually. It means that from the very first moment that we say to Amida Buddha, I trust in you, I say your name, and I wish to go to the Pure Land, and I know that I will go to the Pure Land after I die in this world, and I will become a Buddha in your Pure Land. Thank you. Now Amida Buddha. So from that moment onwards, it is said, according to Master Shinran and the larger sutra, that this person is grasped by Amida Buddha never to be abandoned. And in that very moment, in just the split of a second, Amida Buddha directs or sends us, the believers in him, his transcendental merits. What does it mean? That from that moment on, that we receive a real faith from Amida Buddha, which actually comes from Amida Buddha, is not the creation of our minds, but we receive this faith, you know, like opening a window, and then the light of the sun comes from outside the house. So we say that our mind is like a house, and once we are open to the primal vow, then this faith comes from Amida Buddha himself, that we entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha because of Amida. And then from that moment, since this Shinjin comes into our hearts from Amida Buddha, then we are assured in that second, in that very moment, or thought moment, you know, that we will be born in the Pure Land. So that is our going forth aspect. because from that moment we have the necessary karmic merits because of Amida to be born in the Pure Land. So that is the going forth. What is to go forth to the Pure Land? Is to go to the Pure Land to attain enlightenment. And by virtue of that, by virtue of being born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land, we automatically become Buddhas there in the center of the Pure Land, according to the promise of the 18th vow, you know? So if you become a Buddha in the center of the Pure Land, then naturally, all Buddhas have perfect wisdom and perfect compassion. So the first thing we will do is to return to samsara as enlightened beings. And we will help others to also be born in the Pure Land and to attain enlightenment through all Dharma gates, especially through the gate of the primal vow. So actually, if you truly think about it, what Shinran Shonin says makes a lot of sense, because from that moment, since we have faith in Amida Buddha, we are assured of going to the Pure Land. And if you go to the Pure Land, you will surely come back, because the Pure Land is not like a paradise resort or like a heaven of samsara, that is a place of pleasure or a place to worship some kind of deluded god, you know. We will go there actually to become Buddhas, to become sources of everlasting and perfect wisdom and compassion for the benefit of all beings, you know. So we will go to the Pure Land to return eternally as Buddhas, you know. And as Buddhas, we will never actually see that as a boring job. We'll actually have fun, you know, saving all sentient beings from samsara and leading them to the Pure Land, all of our relatives in this life and past lives. So everything comes from Shinjin, and Shinjin is like a seed that contains everything that we need. It contains the merits to go to the Pure Land, and it contains of course, by virtue of being born in the Pure Land, contains the merit of our returning to this world to save all sentient beings. And everything is done by the transcendental merits of Amida Buddha. We don't have anything to do here but just entrust to Amida Buddha. Nothing of this happens because of our virtue. Everything happens because of Amida Buddha. You know? So Yosho Sensei explains this, and I will quote Yosho Sensei, his explanation of Master Shinran in page 170. He says, the directing of virtue in the aspect of our going forth, going to the Pure Land, no, means that by receiving Shinjin during this present life, we are made to be born in the Pure Land, where we immediately become Buddhas. The direction of virtue for our return to this world means that as soon as we become Buddhas in the Pure Land, we return to this world in various forms to help all beings. Both these aspects of the transference of merit from Amida Buddha to us, which we receive in the form of Shinjin, or the faith or the entrusting heart, and Nembutsu, the saying of the name of Amida because we have faith, yes? So every one of these benefits presented in this chapter, and all of the benefits that we're talking about, this is the second one, yes, are the manifestation of Amida's transference of his store of karmic merit to us. They are all the gifts of Amida Buddha, okay? So this is very important. And remember that Dharmakara Bodhisattva didn't conjure up, you know, like a magician, or like the Pure Land is here, boom. Or he didn't just, create the primal vow without any effort. He actually made many efforts in many kalpas of great, perfect spiritual practice. It is said in the larger sutra, spoken by Shakyamuni Buddha, that Dharmakara Bodhisattva, who would become Amida Buddha and who is now Amida Buddha, made lots of efforts. Yeah, it's like a person accumulating wealth. You know, it's like a very diligent worker, and he instead of material riches, he amassed an infinite store of spiritual and transcendental merits. And he's now giving that away because he likes, yes, it's like a person who is rich. He is free to give those riches to whoever he wants, to his son, to his daughter, to his friends. But Amida Buddha sees us as his children, okay? So he wants to save us. So it is his prerogative, or it is his choice to provide those merits to all beings, okay? On the basis of equality. So regardless of our spiritual stupidity, our evil, our so-called goodness, or our spiritual mediocrity, it doesn't have anything to do with going to the Pure Land. Everything is done by Amida Buddha. Okay, so everything, the fuel that takes us to the Pure Land is the karmic merits of Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha is the creator of the merits that takes us to the Pure Land. He's also the creator of the Pure Land and the creator of the vehicle that takes us there.